Hey guys, the Panda here. This video is part 2 in my 3-part Population 1 tips and tricks series. If you haven't seen the first video, you can check it out in the video in the corner, but in this video, we're going to be looking at guns, grenades, and general combat. We'll go over the pros and cons of each individual gun and advantages of higher level guns and what I believe to be the best gun and how to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you don't know how to smash it, you just have to press it really hard so that it stays blue. But anyways, without further ado, let's jump into the video. Combat in Population 1 is so much fun. To succeed at this game, you need to have quick reflexes and the agility to move quickly. I honestly don't understand how people can play this game sitting down because I come out of most gaming sessions hot and sweaty from all the movement. The most important thing in this game is to position yourself well and to position yourself where you can do the most damage with your chosen weapon. And the best place to position yourself will depend on what weapon you have. For example, if you have an assault rifle, get up somewhere high where you can take cover. And if you have a shotgun or SMG, it might be better to sneak up to your opponent so that you can take them out. If your opponent has a shotgun, you need to put as much distance between you and them as possible. And if you're up against a sniper, make sure you have enough building material to get yourself to a safe place below them. Really, your strategies will all depend on what guns you have, and so for the rest of this video, I will talk about each individual weapon in depth, including grenades, which are honestly my favorite part of this game. I never liked pistols until I tried the gun game challenge, which you can check out in the video in the corner. I forced myself to use them for this challenge, and honestly, they aren't that bad. I almost won an entire game using nothing but a PX4 pistol, and in that same game, I was in a tight spot against a shotgun, and I was able to take him out before he got me. That being said, they still aren't my favorite, but if they're all you got, they really aren't that bad. I do often use a Magnum for long-range shots, but other than that, I leave pistols as backup weapons. Where they truly shine is when you want to shoot while flying. Very few guns in this game are good one-handed long-distance weapons, but all the pistols will work great for flying. For pistols, more stars means that each pistol does more damage and has higher headshot multipliers than lower ranks of the same pistol. The recoil and magazine size do not change. The PX4 is the weakest of the pistols. That being said, it does more damage per shot than any of the assault rifles, especially if you get a headshot. The 1911 does slightly more damage than the PX4, but otherwise they are essentially the same gun. During the gun game challenge, I found it nearly impossible to find a 1911, so I guess they are much more rare than PX4s due to their increased damage. The 357 Magnum is my absolute favorite pistol, and I use it pretty frequently. It does around 50 damage depending on various factors, and it is as powerful as a shotgun, but with much longer range. I haven't had much success using it at close range, but if you can time the bounce of the extremely high recoil correctly, it can be extremely deadly at close range. SMGs are powerful, rapid-fire guns that can destroy a player in seconds. I find that SMGs generally aren't good long-distance weapons, but at close to medium ranges, they can deal significant damage very quickly. They do less damage per shot than assault rifles, but the rapid fire means that if you can keep your aim on target, you'll take out anyone very quickly. Higher ranked SMGs have bigger magazines and less recoil, and honestly the only downside to SMGs is the recoil. If you can get used to the recoil, SMGs are very formidable weapons. UMPs do not come with any sights beyond the basic iron sights on the gun. This is a disadvantage that is more than made up for by the fact that UMPs have little to no recoil. UMPs have quickly become one of my favorite guns in this game because once you get used to them, you can laser down other players in seconds. I often use the UMP one-handed at close range or flying because the recoil is manageable once you get used to it. MP5s have much more recoil than the UMP, but they do more damage per shot. They are useless for long-range shots unless you're really good at handling recoil, but up close they can do some serious damage. P90s are famously called the spray and praise. They are horrible for shooting far because of the recoil, but they have the quickest fire rate out of any SMG, and so they can be the fastest to kill an opponent up close. Snipers are a ton of fun in this game. They do the most damage out of any gun, but both snipers have to be cocked between each shot. If you know how to use them, they can be one of your biggest assets. If you come against a sniper in this game, you better find cover quick or keep running wildly hoping they don't hit you. The hardest thing about using snipers is that there is a time delay between shots, and so you have to aim ahead of your opponent if you want to hit them. This takes some time to get used to it, but you can definitely get used to it and use snipers to destroy your enemies. Some of the highest ranked players use essentially just snipers to take out their enemies. Like pistols, more stars mean that they deal more damage and have higher headshot multipliers. I used to think that the Sako 85 was worthless, but you just need to know how to use it. It has 0 recoil, and so you can shoot the Sako with one hand and have the other hand ready to cock it between shots. If you can get good at this, Sakos make pretty good weapons for up close combat as well as long range. While their main strength will always be long distance shots, I have used this to take out opponents at close range several times. The AWP, or as I like to call it the AWP, is the only real sniper in my opinion. It has a scope that zooms in pretty far, and so if you want to get up high and actually snipe people, this is the gun to take with you. I would never recommend this gun for up close or even medium range combat because of how the scope blacks out the rest of the screen, but I have been one-shotted by this gun at close distance before, so it's not impossible. Shotguns are often touted as the most powerful weapons in this game. Almost all of the advanced players use shotguns, and there's a reason for it. Up close, shotguns do a ton of damage. 2 good shots from the double barrel and you're dead. That being said, just like any gun in Population 1, you have to know how to use them properly to really take advantage of them. They're only good at close distances, and even at medium range, they become essentially worthless. So if you're a player that likes to sneak up on your enemies, shotguns are perfect for you, but if you prefer to shoot from afar, you might want to go with a different gun. Higher ranked shotguns have reduced spread, which means that they do more damage per shot, and they have a slightly better fire rate. The M1014 is the 6-shot assault shotgun. This gun lets you take 6 consecutive shots before having to reload. If you have bad aim, like me, this is the better gun because you can take more shots more quickly. The DT11 is the double barrel 2-shot shotgun. With only 2 shots, you need to know how to reload this gun quickly if you don't want to die. That being said, it generally does much more damage than the 6-shot, and it can hit targets slightly farther away than the 6-shot. Assault rifles are the bread and butter of this game. Assault rifles do well at long distances, but I don't recommend most of them for short distances, because if you're up against a shotgun or an SMG, you'll be dead before you can even take the enemy's shield. That being said, if all your enemy has is a shotgun and you have the distance, you'll definitely take them out before they can get to you. But not all assault rifles are the same. In fact, this class of weapons has the most diverse out of any other class in this game. Like SMGs, higher ranked assault rifles have bigger magazines and less recoil. The CX-4 is the beginner's go-to gun. This doesn't mean it's a bad gun, but it is probably the easiest in this game to pick up and figure out quickly. It has a slower fire rate than any other gun, but if you're hitting all of your shots, this can be a good thing. It has almost no recoil, which means that it's a good one-handed gun, and if you get good at following your enemy, you can take out people pretty quickly from far away. The MK18 was my favorite gun for a while. It's a rapid burst gun, which means that it shoots 3 quick shots, and then you need to pull the trigger again to shoot another round of 3 shots. I like this gun a lot when shooting from far away because I can shoot and get a bunch of hits on my enemy and then take cover before they can hit me. This strategy has led me to win several matches. The AKM is absolutely the best gun in this game. That being said, it is a lot harder to find than other guns, and for good reason. This gun does more damage per shot than any of the other assault rifles or SMGs, and it shoots almost as fast as the SMG. I don't like to use the 1 or 2-star AKMs because they have a little bit too much recoil for me, but a purple or gold AKM will dominate almost any other weapon, with the possible exception of the DT11 if you're in close range. I do find that it isn't as accurate as the CX-4 or MK18s at really long range, and that's because of the recoil. So if you can get used to that recoil, you can use this weapon at mid, short range, and long range. Aiming in this game will take some getting used to. The best advice that I can give someone is to learn to lead your shots. This means that you should aim slightly in front of your enemy because of the time delay between you shooting and the bullets actually reaching them. The farther away you are, the more time it takes for the bullets to reach their target, and so the farther ahead of your opponent that you need to aim. Even with shotguns, leading your shot in close range will make sure that most of the bullets hit your target, dealing much more damage. When you have a gun that has recoil, you need to practice with that gun to figure out how much recoil and then aim your gun to account for that recoil. As a good rule of thumb, you need to aim your gun slightly below your target so that as the gun moves with the recoil, it moves up, hitting right on target. I know that some people like to aim their gun sideways so that the recoil follows the movement of the enemy, and I've had some success doing this with UMPs, and I highly recommend that you try it. I almost always use the scopes of the guns for the assault rifles and the snipers, but for shotguns and SMGs, I'll usually just use the crosshairs. Lately, I've been getting pretty good at following the line of bullets from the UMP, and so I've been using that gun one-handed to laser down other people while climbing or flying close by. The benefits of not using two hands to aim down the scope is that it takes a significant amount of time to grab your hand with both hands, aim it in front of your head, and look down the scope. And that time to do all of that could be the difference between you dying or taking out the enemy. In the beginning, use the scopes and learn to aim properly. And then as you get more experience, try moving away from the scopes so that you aren't as reliant on them, so that you can just pick up your gun, use the crosshairs, and laser down people. This will save you a lot of time when aiming and will get you a lot more kills. So with all of that being said, which gun should you choose? Well, personally, I like to carry only 2 weapons at most. I know people who stock up on several weapons, and honestly, this is just a huge waste of space. In the middle of the fight, you're only going to end up using 1 weapon, so don't waste space in your backpack if you don't need it. That being said, again, I carry 2 weapons, 1 long range and 1 short range. I would consider the Magnum, snipers, and any of the assault rifles a long range weapon, while SMGs and shotguns are short range weapons. You need both because you'll never know when you're going to see an enemy across the way or around the corner, and so you carry both so that you're ready for any situation that comes up. The only time that I carry 1 weapon is if I find a purple or gold AKM, because a good AKM can serve as a decent long range and short range weapon, and with only 1 gun, I have more room to carry heals and grenades. Speaking of grenades, let's talk about it. Grenades are the best part of this game. A well-placed grenade will take down an entire team in 1 hit, and so they're definitely worth using and getting used to. Beyond that, they're great tools to force people into the open or to distract them. I always carry 1 or 2 grenades with me and will often grab more, especially if I'm going up somewhere high. Grenades have a dashed line showing you exactly where they're going to go. Pay attention to this line, especially when you're higher up, because if you're too high up, the grenades are going to explode mid-air before they even reach the ground. The dashed red line shows you their range and will show you exactly where it's going to end up exploding. So only throw grenades if you see that the dashed red line is hitting your target. The best way to use grenades is to drop them on teams that aren't expecting them. This will prevent them from running away from the grenade. The way that I do this is I climb up big buildings such as the tower or the windmills, and then I glide over my enemies, dropping grenades on them. This is the best way to destroy or at least weaken an unsuspecting team. What you need to do is you need to practice using them, get used to their range and how they bounce. What I recommend is you fill up on grenades, climb up the tower, and see how many people you can take out by flying and dropping grenades like a bomber. Do this a couple of times and you'll become a grenade master. Anyways, that's it for this video. If this helped you, make sure you're subscribed so that you can get the next and final part in the series when it's released. Also, feel free to join my Discord if you have questions or want to meet up to play. The link is down in the description. But that's it. I'm out.